in a lot of cases, that will be your entire margin. Like there was a lot of Amazon businesses when I started around a 15 to 20% margin. It's like, well, if you're going from 26 to 41%, that's 15%. Like that's your entire profit. Nothing's really guaranteed with any business, whether it's an online business or really throughout history. It's like all businesses pretty much fail eventually. It's just like, how long can you keep it going?
Like, you know what, like your Q4 is not going to look like it did in the past. Like it's too risky to kind of do what I did last year, but I'm so happy that I did it this year, because like if I didn't do what I did last year, I'd be nowhere near where I am today.
Tech just eradicates the edges. That's like with all this Amazon software, it just kind of takes the edges away.
What's going on, guys? We have Dave here today. He's done over $10 million selling on Amazon. He's had one of the biggest lead lists in the Amazon space, and we're going to be talking about all of that. He recently made an announcement that he's really scaling back his Amazon business, and he got rid of his OA leads list. So why don't we just start there? What made you decide to do that after having like a really big Amazon business and leads list?
Yeah, so we scaled our Amazon business up. We started back in 2016 selling on Amazon with about $500 and scaled that up to, in 2021, that was our peak year where we did about 2.5 million in sales. And it was around that time that I launched the leads list because I was doing a lot of OA. I already had VAs. So we had a lot of extra leads that we just weren't using. And since that time, we've kind of scaled back our own selling. And really, that's just because Amazon's gotten a lot more difficult to sell on there. I think some of the other platforms have started to catch up to, I feel like maybe 5 years ago, Amazon was a no-brainer. It was the best platform out there, where now I think because of their increased fees, especially, I think that's probably the number one thing, and everything just getting more expensive. We scaled back a lot of our own selling, and then we also saw the same thing from our leads list customers as well. Just a lot of people that dropped off the list, and we always ask why, and a lot of them were giving us the same reason, that they're no longer selling on Amazon. And I've talked to other leads list owners as well, and they've seen the same thing of just selling on Amazon. Not as many people are getting into it as there used to be. And I think especially around the 2020 time, when a lot of people were at home, they were looking for that side hustle, and that's what brought a lot of people in. But especially after 2023, things really started dropping off in terms of people wanting a leads list. And quite frankly, it just wasn't profitable for us anymore because we were paying our team more than the subscriptions that we had. And I could have tried to promote it more, but we're not doing as much of our own selling. I just didn't really feel like putting more effort into promoting it. That's basically why we shut it down.
Yeah, how big was the drop off of that stuff? Because we've talked on here before about like all these softwares and leads lists, and how we just assumed that stuff, the numbers were probably going down as more serious sellers stopped selling on Amazon. So how big of a drop off was it in terms of like percentage of how many people signed up, or how many people did you have at the peak compared to like when you decided to shut it down?
We had like 5 leads lists at the peak, and we even ran a Q4 group for the last couple years. In 2023, we like sold it out, and I think we had like 45 members. And last year, we only got like 10 people signed up for it. So there was a big drop off there. Probably at the peak, we had a little over or around 100 members total on the leads list at one time. And then when I just got rid of it about a month ago, and we probably had around 15 subscribers left. So it was a big drop off, but also because I haven't been promoting it and people don't do it as much start of the year, like you always have better numbers in Q4. So definitely a big drop off there in terms of membership.
Yeah. And you mentioned other platforms. Are you selling other platforms now? Is that where you've moved to?
Yeah, so basically last year, I started doing the Amazon influencer program a lot, and that was kind of my main focus last year. Um, and we're still doing AIP and UGC, but my fiance Morgan, she's doing more of that now, and we're actually planning on moving the end of this year, so my garage is like packed with a death pile that I just haven't addressed in the last few years. So I've actually been focusing a lot in selling on eBay lately, and I've actually been enjoying it quite a bit. So um, now I'm like almost getting through the end of the stuff that I had that I was trying to sell on Amazon, selling it on eBay. So once that stuff is all listed, I think I'm going to continue selling on eBay because the return on there is just really good. And I think it's a good business model for me personally because I think my strength is really with developing systems and processes. Like I'm more of like an operations kind of guy than great at like if you sell wholesale on Amazon, I feel like you have to be really good at sales, where that's not really my strength. So I think I'm going to continue doing eBay and then keep doing the UGC stuff.
Sweet. Yeah, John.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think for eBay too, I mean, if you're kind of sourcing like garage sales or, maybe Facebook Marketplace to eBay or something like that, you could also double dip because you could do like an AIP video as well and then also benefit on eBay,
Yeah,
um,
that's true.
which is a nice benefit. I think a lot of people don't know their numbers. And when I was watching your video that you made I don't know, last week or whatever, about kind of closing down, you said that when you first started, your Amazon fees were 26%. And then last year, you paid them over like 40%.
Yep,
And
that's
that was just
right.
mind blowing to me. And then you made the analogy. It's like, so if I did $100,000 when I first started, I gave them 26,000. Now if I did that, I gave them 40. And I feel
Yep.
like a lot of people don't realize that, like the
Yeah,
increase.
and in a lot of cases, like that will be your entire margin. Like there was a lot of Amazon businesses when I started around a 15 to 20% margin. It's like, well, if you're going from 26 to 41%, that's 15%. Like that's your entire profit. So it's like, and we also looked at like our cost of goods sold as a percentage, and that was actually better than what it was when we started. So that was eating up less of the margin, and we were still making less because of the increase in fees.
I didn't even know the increase was that much till he told me that. So, what has this increase been like overall? Did you see what it was calculated down to of what they've actually increased? Because it's probably not just the direct fee, is it?
To be honest, I'm not really sure. Like the fees have gotten so confusing,
Yeah.
and I'm not like, I don't know, I'm not big into like going in and breaking down and figuring out exactly where all those increases happened. And like it was kind of gradual. Like even in 2021, it like wasn't that bad. Like I think from 2017, I was just looking at my own profit and loss. In 2017, it was at the 16 or the 26% that you mentioned. By 2021, it was at like 28%. So it went up a little bit in that first 5 years, but not that much. And then somehow from that point to last year, it went to 41%. So I don't know exactly. And the one fee that you can control pretty well is like long-term storage fees. So don't like send in too much to FBA. And we weren't really doing that. So someone might say, oh, he's probably got like just a ton of stuff stored that's eating up a lot of that cost, but it really wasn't that. Like I think our storage fees for the whole year were around $1,000. So it wasn't anything crazy where that was a big chunk of the fees.
Yeah, that's brutal, man. It's like a whole like storm of the competition getting bigger, Amazon adding the fees. It's just like so hard to stay profitable.
Yeah,
I can see
exactly.
why you decided to move. If you have you tried Walmart? Have you thought about trying to move there?
Yeah, I'm selling on Walmart right now, but it just I can't focus on everything, but I am dabbling with that, and I do think Walmart is a lot better. I think Walmart's more similar to what Amazon was 5 years ago, but it's a very clunky platform. So like I was trying to just do a basic WFS shipment, and it took me so long just to figure things out because you try to convert items to WFS, and then you get like error messages. You got to reach out to support, and it just got like really frustrating. Like in terms of the back end technology, like Amazon is far superior. And it was far superior like Amazon 10 years ago versus Walmart now. So I don't know. It's like a clunky platform, but if you figure out how to use it, I think it's really good because the fees are a lot lower, like you said.
Yeah. And when you're talking about eBay, where are you sourcing those things? I know John mentioned garage sale. I don't know if you posted about it or not, but where do you get the inventory for eBay?
Well, right now we're still working through like just a lot of leftover stuff that I had from Amazon. So we've only been sourcing for eBay a couple times, but we have done well with garage sales. We've um, like a couple weeks ago, we found like an antique spoon that we sold. We bought it for $2 and sold it for 120. So there's a lot of stuff out there that like people just don't even know what they have, and you can find value. So that's what's like really exciting for me is those types of flips where like with Amazon it's like okay, I'm going to spend $20 for something and make a $4 or $5 profit, where with this it's like you're selling a lot less volume but the margin's much better.
Yeah, much safer.
Yeah.
Yeah, John.
For sure. Yes. What would you? A lot of what I see as the counter argument, and I'm curious to your opinion. So a lot of when people say like all this bad stuff's happening on Amazon, you start to hear like, oh, this is great. It's going to weed out the weak sellers. You can no longer sell Nike or Adidas. Like that's a good thing. Like it's just more. There's going to be less competition for those who could sell that. There's plenty of other brands out there, or just like now it's time to double down where everyone's leaving. Like what are kind of your thoughts on that?
Um, to be honest, I think probably a lot of those people have a course or something within the Amazon sphere to sell you. And that's probably why they're saying that most of the time. But I do think some people actually uh, believe that. But I mean, I don't know. It's definitely a lot harder. And I think anybody that says that it's like, that it's a I don't know. I guess it could be a good thing, but personally, I think there's as much opportunity on like an eBay or a Walmart right now where 5 years ago Amazon was like head and shoulders the best platform to sell on.
Yeah. So would you even recommend like beginners to get into Amazon? If somebody asked you like how should I make money online, would you even tell them start selling on Amazon anymore?
Yeah, I think it's still good for like the right type of person. Like if you're really looking to scale an e-commerce business, it still has like the most traffic of any website. So you could still make it work. But I do think if you're working with a limited budget, especially, I think you're probably better off at least starting on a different platform. And then as you like learn your niche or the things you like to sell, then you could transition over to Amazon better. Because like we do still sell on Amazon, but we buy from sites that like we know the sales cycle really well. So it's more of an opportunistic buy, and maybe we're holding the inventory a little bit longer because we know like okay, in 3 to 6 months the Keepa is going to go up a lot, or the price is going to go up a lot on Keepa. So if you know the market really well, it's still a great opportunity, and there still is a lot of volume there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. What do you talk about your experience a little bit with AIP? Kind of how'd you get into that? Kind of how is that becoming like a big focus? Because that's a huge focus of mine right now. I mean, I'm close to 2,700 videos. I've actually seen your page we're in some of the same campaigns, so it's always funny to see a fellow
Yeah.
OA seller on some of these carousels.
Yeah, I've found so many like current or former Amazon sellers just from AIP videos. I'm like, oh yeah, I know that guy. Yeah, I came across your storefront I think last year as well. Um, so yeah, I heard about it around the end of 2023 and really got started. I got approved in like January of last year. And I think a lot of people at the time were teaching like just pump out volume with AIP videos. And I think, I don't know if you agree with this, I think that that probably worked a lot better like maybe 2 or 3 years ago. But for us right now, the commissions, it's kind of inconsistent when it comes to AIP. Like, I think you can't really rely on it. I think the real opportunity is in the brand deals with UGC. But AIP is no doubt like a fantastic opportunity because the stuff like we still make money on videos that we made like over a year ago. So it's a lot different from Amazon FBA in that way where you sell the inventory and then it's gone. Like you can make a video and it lasts for a long time and we're still getting like paid out on months that we don't work on it.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. Like, it seems like I kind of do like a hybrid where it's like for creator connections, I was doing a lot of stuff because I kind of wanted it personally. Like now that we already have a wine fridge or like stuff for the kitchen, now it's like I don't need another one of those like type of deals. And I do think like quality over quantity could be like the better play. And I do agree with you. I mean, I feel like it's awesome to get paid on videos that you did 6 months ago. Um, I can't kind of for my experience, it's been like somewhat consistent like the months like I can rely that I know I'm going to make certain amount on a certain month. I think
Yeah.
you're right though, like the brand deals is where it's at. I think it's like anything else, like I think that's Amazon in a nutshell. Like it's a good opportunity, but before we get into that, if you could just take 1 second, like this video, we would greatly appreciate it. It really helps get this out to more people, and that will allow us to get better guests for you guys. And if you are feeling extra generous, leave a comment what you like about it or tag us on social. Thanks so much. Now let's get back to the episode. But you make your real money elsewhere. Like whether it's a leads list, coaching, software, whatever you're going to do, or outside deals. And I think that's like it's kind of similar to kind of doing like an arbitrage business.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like with Amazon FBA, it's like if you go out and buy a bunch of inventory, like you can expect it to kind of pay off in the next 1 to 2 months. Where with AIP, it was like we would make a ton of videos and it wouldn't really pay off right away. But then down the line, you might start getting some traction on a video randomly. And some videos you like think they're gonna do amazing. You're like, oh, this product sells a ton, and then your video just gets buried by other videos and then you make no money on it. So it's very unpredictable in that way.
Well, and I'm curious the transition between like you being this big Amazon seller, having the big leads list, because I've went through this too. I stopped selling in 2023. I was doing a big coaching business on to doing other stuff, So how's that transition been between, you were this, doing huge numbers onto like, okay, well now I'm going to do eBay. Now I'm going to do AIP. How's that all been for you throughout that process?
Um, I mean, it hasn't been amazing. Like I've had years where I've made more money than I made last year, so that part of it kind of sucks. But there is like some positives to it. Like I don't know, when I shut down my leads list, it was like a weight lifted off of my shoulders with like just having a whole VA team and having to pay them every 2 weeks. And their salaries like went up over the years as well. So it's like it was nice to just take that off of my plate. And also we had a warehouse, we got rid of that. That was a nice transition. Like all my inventory is in my garage right now. So it is super nice to like wake up and like just go to the garage, pack orders, and it's all right there. So what I've kind of learned is just like as I rebuild my business back up, I'm doing it more intentionally with like designing more of the lifestyle that I want. And I'm not saying I'll never have employees again, but um, I'm definitely thinking long and hard about like whenever you add a warehouse or employees or things like that, it's like there's positives and negatives to it. And I don't always have to be in scale mode. Like I'd rather make a little bit less money and have like the lifestyle that I want more so than just make as much money as possible.
Yeah, like it's a balancing act, right? Of like all this overhead, all this stress, and more money. Yeah, I went through a similar thing. I'm like, I stopped doing that because I'm like, this is so stressful, and it's becoming, not as worth it anymore. But then it's like when you're making less money, then you go through a whole nother, weight on your shoulders. You're like, dang, am I like gonna make it again? Which I guess you just got to stay positive throughout the thing and know, well, I've already done this all once. I just got to build up other stuff as big as that, or and more efficiently, like you said. Like if you design it right, you can build something really big. But if you design it wrong, it's just going to break once you hit a certain part every time.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing's really guaranteed with any business, whether it's an online business or really throughout history. It's like all businesses pretty much fail eventually. It's just like how long can you keep it going? And you have to be willing to adjust. Like I'm sure what I'm doing right now is going to look completely different in 10 years. So I think as you go through more ups and downs, you have more perspective of like, okay, I had a bad year, but you never know, like things might be look a lot different 3 or 4 years down the line. So you just try to be consistent and putting in hard work every day.
What about social media? I know I followed you on Twitter for a really long time, but I don't really, I'm not active on Twitter or Instagram anymore. Are you still posting a lot of like content involved around reselling, or are you taking a break off that as well?
No, I haven't been posting much of anything, and that was one of the things I didn't really enjoy that much about running the leads list was just constantly having to make content because you can't just like pop in every 2 to 3 months and promote it. Like you have to be like people need to see your face over and over again. So I was enjoying it a little bit more at first until you like pretty much make every video of like tips that you want to say. So it got kind of old after a while. And also, I don't know, at first my content was performing really well with like, I did a lot of Instagram reels around keep a product finder. People really liked those at first, but then like as time went on, for whatever reason, they stopped doing as well. So it got kind of frustrating to make content. And then with me dropping off my own Amazon selling as well, it just like I feel like I'm like trying to fake something that's not really there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and your name's OA Deals, right? That's the handles.
Yeah.
That's brutal, dude. Yeah, I mean, I was Drew FBA, and I'm like, well, I'm not FBA at all anymore. So that's another little thing. It's like, well, do all the people follow me? Do they even want to hear what else I have to say about other stuff? So we've had a lot of people go through like what you just said. Now I've went through it, and like a lot of people on this pod, they're like, yeah, I just don't really post anymore. There's nothing else to say, and then I just kind of it's a different audience, I guess, overall. So stuff performs not as good when I talk about the stuff maybe I want to talk about now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's worth giving it a shot, like talking about different things. I just personally I don't love making content. So I'm perfectly happy just like selling on eBay and not making content. But it is probably a good idea uh, to keep doing it at least on some level, and then if that could lead to other opportunities down the line.
Yeah, definitely. What you got, John?
Yeah, I would agree with you 100%. Like, because the content you were making was like really in depth, like just basically going over keep a product finder and how to spot like out of stock things, and like lots of like effort went into that. I think that's where we kind of like run into these things. I know Drew said it before on the podcast. It's like you kind of do it because it's fun at first, then it kind of comes to a grind, and then maybe you have something to sell. So you're a little bit more motivated, but then like once you don't have anything to sell, you're like, I don't want to make this content anymore kind of deal. But I
Yeah.
do think like you bring up like a really good point. Like I kind of went through the same thing. Like last year was a freaking terrible year for me because I really focused on AIP the whole year, and I was very intentional about it. Like, you know what, like your Q4 is not going to look like it did in the past. Like it's too risky to kind of do what I did last year. But I'm so happy that I did it this year because like if I didn't do what I did last year, I'd be nowhere near where I am today. And now it kind of like all makes sense.
Yeah.
And do you ever kind of look at that? Like, so I remember when I last year, I'm just like sitting here, it's like, you're making a video about this remote. Like, what has your life like come to? Like, what are you doing? Like, did you make the right decision? There are people making all this money in Q4 and you're like making videos. Did you have any of those type of moments when you're kind of making the transition?
Yeah, it's definitely frustrating, especially with AIP and what I said about it being inconsistent. It's like you could put in all this work, and we've had days that are like literally negative because we'll have sold like a high ticket item that gets returned, and then like you can only check your sales once a day, so you log in, you're all excited, and then you're like -$3 for the day. So that's like super frustrating. But right now, we've been focused more on brand deals and then like not uploading as much to AIP, and it's still paying off like 1 to 2 thousand bucks a month. So that's like really nice because it's like I'm making this nice side income, and not even we aren't even really uploading videos for AIP, like maybe 10 a month or so. But so it's like kind of the compounding nature of it. Of I'm glad I did that last year, but definitely day to day, like you said, it can be frustrating.
Well, talk more about the brand deals. So how's that situation work? You getting the ones like emailing people, outreaching, or how are you doing that?
Most of them are just people that reach out to us, and we really want to start like trying to get higher ticket ones because a lot of the ones we took last year, some of them paid, but not that much, like maybe $30 or $50. If it's something we want personally, we'll take it for free. But yeah, we really want to start trying to do ones that pay us more.
Yeah. Is that your so what is your goal with all of it? Do you want to scale that up long term, or like where do you see yourself going with like what you're currently doing now, or do you think it will look completely different in a few years?
Right now, I've more so been focused on the eBay side, and then like my fiance, she's doing more of the UGC stuff. So I kind of feel like eBay is more. There's a better chance that I think it's going to be around long term than something like Amazon or even Walmart. Just because the type of things that you're selling, they're like hard to find items. A lot of times, like I said, like the vintage spoon that's like discontinued, like they're not making more of them. So that type of reselling, I feel like has a much better chance to last a lot longer because of the types of products you're selling. So 5, 10 years down the road, like especially with AI getting so much better, I think something like Walmart, there's going to be some type of AI that can go out and like find everything that you can arbitrage OA onto Walmart or Amazon. Where with if you're going to a garage sale, like AI can't really find that as easily.
Yeah, 100%. I've said that on there before. Like it's just a matter of time before some software comes out that might not even like buy the products, but just regulates all these websites to the same prices, or just they have their own repricers. I'd say that's probably coming quicker than people think, if I had to
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, basically like a tactical arbitrage that actually works.
Yeah. That's like way better and can scrape every single website. Like TA is like limited in the websites it can do.
Yeah.
And it'll miss a lot of things like multi-packs and stuff that are like listed incorrectly as well.
What else you got, John?
Can you walk us through maybe kind of how does a lead list work? If you want to talk about it, like, is it profitable? Kind of, because it almost seems like a great idea. I've had the idea before. It's like, well, I sell on, all this stuff. I'm constantly looking. Maybe I should just, sell the leads and almost have no risk myself and just make money that way.
Yeah, it was really profitable for a while, but I think I think a lot of the leads list providers are struggling now with just interest dying off with selling on Amazon. Um, I think there's an appetite for a Walmart leads list, which is something I considered, but I don't really want to put something out there unless I know it's really good. So really the Amazon leads list just fit into my business model because I was already selling on there, so I knew how to source good products for it. But yeah, it was a really good business model, and I think people definitely do trust you more if you actually sell on Amazon yourself as opposed to some of the leads lists where if it's just like a faceless company that's running it, I don't think those ones were as trustworthy. But yeah, it was a good business model, but um, it's a lot harder to make it work in 2025. But I mean, they're still out there. There's still some good ones out there that are. And I talked to some of them when I was shutting mine down, and they said like, "Oh, our margins are a lot thinner now." But um, yeah, that's pretty much my opinion on that.
And how is it tough in the aspect of how many people are in the leads list? Because I feel like that's the big problem, right? Is like how many people are signed up buying the same stuff. How did you manage those limits of like I don't want 100 people to buy the same item?
I think at first people were more open to the idea of like a larger cap on a leads list. When we first launched, I think we had our first leads list was 45 members, and we sold that one out. And then as the years went on, you saw more and more price tanking, and people wanted the more exclusive leads list. So when we just shut down, we had one list that it was only 10, it was capped at 10 members. And that one, it did well at first, but then it wasn't filling up anymore. And I think it's just the nature of OA. Even if you're sourcing the products on your own and it's not on a leads list, as long as you're buying a decent amount of products, like it's pretty much guaranteed that other people are going to find that same lead and there's going to be some level of price tanking. Like we were buying stuff that wasn't on our leads list that we just found on our own, and there was still, you'd still get the products that like 40 sellers would hop on the listing and it would completely tank. So I think it's just the nature of like we were talking about, Keep a Product Finder has gotten absolutely amazing at finding products. Like people are out there finding stuff, and there's a lot of people that are really good. There's a lot of really good education, and people are really good at sourcing. So if you find something OA, you just pretty much have to cross your fingers that it's not going to tank, especially if the rank is good. So I think OA is still possible, but you really have to be smart about it. You have to like learn the sales cycles and make sure you're buying when something is at its rock bottom price, or saying, I'm going to hold this for 6 months, or have some kind of advantage like that, where I think the days of, oh, this site has 20% off, I'm going to buy this, like that's probably an item that's going to take.
Yeah, it's probably going to be like after you say that and thinking about it, a lot of this stuff is probably going to depend on who has the most capital. So like if you can buy out the entire website and you can sit on a lot of it and you can kind of keep the inventory for a year and know that you have the lowest price, kind of run an OA as a wholesale model. Maybe that's kind of where things go of like, if you have a lot of money, you can buy the whole place out, then you're going to be good. But if you don't, then what are you going to do with your 10 units? Because it's going to tank for 6 months. What are you going to do? Like sit those in your garage for that long? Probably not.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, and doing some FBM I think helps. And you can always like FBM, you at least have the advantage of you're holding the inventory yourself, so you could list it on Walmart as well. Or if something bad happens, like you get suspended, your inventory is not stuck in a warehouse somewhere, you still have access to it. So I think another thing is just having a plan B of what you can do with the inventory if Amazon doesn't work out.
Yeah, I think that's a big problem when you don't know when the rock bottom is. I remember when I first started, you get something for 20% off, and it's always the worst feeling. Like a week later, like, oh, like our birthday sale, everything's 40% off. You're like, oh my god, like I'm so screwed on this.
Yeah.
Which yeah. So for those who maybe don't know, like how do you identify like the sales cycles?
There's not really any way to do it other than just like paying attention.
Yeah, it's experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else you got, Sean? What else can we talk about here? I don't know, man. What about the eBay stuff? I guess the big thing on there is the volume, right? The people think volume is going to go elsewhere. Have you tried the platforms that might be taking volume from eBay, like Whatnot, Mercari, or do you ever like mess with those type of things?
No, I haven't really used those much. I've thought about doing Whatnot, but I think I I think I wouldn't really be motivated to get up and do like a live stream every single day. But it is appealing because I do think that there's a lot more volume there. Um, and I follow, I don't know if you guys follow them, Rinzy,
Yeah.
RNZY. They do Whatnot and they're absolutely crushing it. So I like, and they do like all new clothing, like new with tag stuff. So that to me is like a super repeatable model. Um, but I think, like I said, going back to just being more intentional about building out the business around things that I'm good at, I think eBay is probably better for me, even though on paper, Whatnot looks like it might be a better opportunity.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're trying to
what?
get them. I've tried to get them on the podcast, and I haven't heard back from them. But I think their goal is almost. I think they said it was like $2 million this year,
Yeah,
which is pretty insane. And they have like a whole shopping team like built out. So I'd love to hear about all that kind of stuff from them.
yeah, yeah. If you're not following them, I'd highly suggest it. It's they have some good stuff.
I wonder where no one really talks about the Whatnot thing, if that's really where like there's a ton of money to be made, but nobody's on it yet. Because it does require a lot of work. I mean, you got to source the stuff and you have to manually sell it yourself to a bunch of people, which that already is like a barrier to entry of like who wants to be on camera for 5 hours like that? That's pretty tough.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that might be like the future of shopping. Honestly, like I think there's a lot more boomers on eBay, like buying Tommy Bahama golf shirts, like stuff like that, where like um, Whatnot, it's like, don't they pretty much have live selling on TikTok as well? Like that's getting pretty big. It was crazy. The other day I was in my garage photoing some stuff. I had the door open and some guy across the street just yelled to me. He's like, "You getting ready for a Whatnot stream?" I was like, "No, it's just eBay." He's like, "Oh man, I'm addicted to Whatnot." So I don't know. I think probably the younger generation is more gravitating towards that live selling. So um,
That's it. I've
yeah.
never even been on there.
Oh really? It's really interesting. You should
Yeah,
check it
that's
out.
crazy. You heard someone say like, "Yeah, I'm addicted to that stuff." I wonder. I want to know how many people watch those streams at a time. Do you know? Like how many people are like? Let's say it's a decent sized stream. Like, is there like thousands of people watching, or how many people watch those things?
I know it's at least in the hundreds. Probably some of the bigger ones get into the thousands. But I think like you do have to spend some time like building up your following on there, and people find certain auctions that they like, and I think you pretty much have to be in a specific niche to make it work. Like Rinzy, they only do like um, the new with tags clothing, but they stick to the same like 7 to 10 brands, and then a lot of them will be like sports cards or shoes. If you're just doing everything, it's probably not going to work.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. Do you follow? I think her name is. I think it's CAIT CEO, Kate CEO.
I don't think so. No.
She's a huge. I don't know how old she is, but she does millions of dollars on Whatnot. Like she streams, I think like 3 or 4 times a week, and she does like Michael Kors purses, Ralph Lauren, like absolutely insane like stuff. She gets like all these pallets delivered, does everything out of her garage, and I think their last show, she said she's shipped out 1,000 items.
Wow, that's absolutely insane. Just shipping 1,000 items would take hours. That's like a whole day of work.
Yeah, I wonder what the margins are like on stuff people sell there, especially t-shirts. Like how expensive are these t-shirts? They're probably like $30, right? I wonder how cheap they're getting them.
Yeah, from what I've heard, I think the margins aren't as good as like an eBay because with eBay, you're putting it at like the max that it pretty much goes for on like the pre-owned clothes market, and then you're just waiting for the right buyer. Like it might take 6 months to sell, but you're pretty much getting top dollar for it. Where with Whatnot, they are. I think a lot of them are probably selling some stuff at a loss, and a lot of them are like doing giveaways and stuff just to get more people in the stream. But then the ones that bid up super high make up for the ones that sell at a loss. Um, but I have no experience with Whatnot, so I don't really know for sure.
From what I understand, is too with Whatnot, it almost seems like the creator. So, I don't want to misquote it, but I think Renzi, don't they have like a hot sauce or something? They have something that they sell. So basically, they're like, so let's say you bought this water bottle or whatever. Like you could get the side hustle experiment hot sauce for an extra $5. And they
Yeah,
just throw it in the bag because it's already included in the shipping. So now you just made like an extra $3 or $4 on your hot sauce. Maybe that helps with like the margins as well.
yeah. I would imagine once you like build up enough of a following, you could do like a private label thing like that, which would be a good way to make some extra money.
Yeah, I never even thought about that. Yeah, the money could just be in the upsells. Like, what if you sold all those clothes at break even or a loss, and then you're like, well, we're gonna get 25% of the time someone's gonna buy our X $10 hot sauce, and we make 900% ROI on it or whatever. So it
Yeah,
adds up over time. That's pretty genius. I wonder if
yeah,
that's like how they run it.
yeah. Maybe I'm not sure.
Why don't you
I'll
go
look
jump?
into that. Yeah, what do you kind of think about all that kind of Amazon regating? Like, I get questions all the time, like, why do you think they're doing this? This isn't fair. What do you kind of think their thinking is behind that?
I don't know. It would seem to me like they don't really want small sellers as much anymore. I don't know for sure what their motivation is, but we got regated in Nike. I was like at the outlet the other day and I just scanned a shoe. I was like, holy shit, like I'm regated in Nike. And they wanted, I think, an invoice with 100 on it. And it's like, I've done at least 6 figures in Nike in like my Amazon career. But yeah, I don't know. It seems like the marketplace is just more mature and they want bigger sellers. Um, so they want a seller that can go out and buy 100 pairs of Nike. But I mean, I don't know for sure, but that's like the only thing that I can guess is they're out of the phase of like trying to deal with the smaller sellers, which I think is why a lot of people are going over to Walmart. And yeah, I see so much more content about Walmart now popping up. Like a lot, that seems to be the trend of what a lot of smaller Amazon sellers are doing.
Yeah, my biggest problem with the Walmart stuff, and we've talked to a lot of people who like love it on there, but my thing is the sellers are going over there. Like the sellers are increasing, but the volume is not ever going to increase. Like we're not bringing people to shop on Walmart. So I wonder like when that becomes a bit of an issue of like now that it's saturated over there, but Amazon can sustain the saturation due to the volume, but Walmart, it's not like it's going to get more volume unless Amazon just falls off the planet and Walmart takes them over, which probably won't happen.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree with that. I think a lot of the saturation that's on Amazon right now will eventually happen at Walmart. But there might be like a 5 year window where it's really good selling on there. And I've been seeing more like softwares come out like something that's going to be similar to Keepa. I forget what it was called, but once that comes in, then I think you're going to see even more. Like I think it's almost a good thing right now in the beginning that there's no tool like Keepa, because you can find a product that sells even if you have no idea that it's going to sell. When you buy the product, you can test buy it, but then once you figure out that it works, you can just buy that product over and over, and there's not going to be any competition. Where is if there's a tool like a Keepa, like other people are just going to find that same product, and it probably won't last very long.
Yeah, tech just eradicates the edges. That's like with
Yeah,
all that Amazon software, it just kind of takes the edges away. Yeah, people probably want more tech. I've heard people say it on here of like, yeah, it'd be nice when software's coming. I'm like, I don't think you want that. Like you think you do, but as soon as that comes, then it's just going to get 10 times harder than it was before. Be
yeah,
simpler,
exactly.
but
Like
more
Keepa wasn't nearly as good when I started selling on Amazon, and I think that was a good thing.
yeah. How's it gotten better? I mean, I haven't sold in like 2 years. So what's the, you were saying it's gotten really, really good at certain things. Like what's improved in the biggest improvements they've made over there?
Um, Probably the Keepa product finder, like where you can set your parameters and it's just going to find a whole bunch of products
Yeah.
that meet those parameters. And Amazon came out with like the monthly sales estimate. That was a big one. And I think when I started with Keepa, it was just basically it had like the new price, the sales rank, and maybe like one or two other things like on the graph. But now there's like a drop down. You can see like the seller count, and you can see seller stock and all kinds of, there's like five different tabs. Um, so yeah, that just has a lot more data than it used to.
Yeah. Sure, John.
Yeah, I think that is like kind of crazy because that's probably a lot of features. Like, I think sometimes when we request features or like this would be great because it's like that's what you want in your business, but then it's like you kind of also forget like everyone gets access to that.
Yeah.
And like you kind of knew a way around that. Like, oh, but if they could just put this filter in, then it'd be perfect. And then it turns out, well, everyone gets that filter, and you kind of lose your edge a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
I do think Walmart though too, like going back to Walmart, I do wonder if it just saturates a lot quicker because a lot of like Amazon sellers who are actually like experienced doing arbitrage just go there and like it's not like they're starting at as beginners.
Yeah.
Like they already have this huge like if you've been doing it for 5 years, you just basically learn like how to send a shipment to Walmart. And you take all this knowledge, like you probably source the same sources, the same sales, the same everything, and you're just jamming all that to Walmart. I mean, I hope it doesn't for the people who sell there, but I think the saturation period is going to be like much, much quicker on there.
Yeah, you might be right on that. I think Walmart seems like they're I don't know anything, but it seems like they put an emphasis on like Google SEO. Like if you search, like a lot of times I've searched for products on Google and like Walmart is the first result.
Mm.
So I think I don't know if people are searching for products on Google that they might be getting a lot of traffic from there. So I mean I don't really know for sure, but it seems like they're investing a lot into their e-commerce, and like the Walmart Plus membership. I don't know if you guys, is that what it's called, Walmart Plus? I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah.
We with like grocery delivery and stuff. We use that all the time. I don't know if they have it in every city, but it is a really good program. So I think people, hey, I'm gonna get my groceries delivered, and we also need trash bags, so I'll just buy that from Walmart too. So I do think it's a pretty good platform, but like you said, they probably don't have as much not even close to as much volume as Amazon does.
I never really considered what you just said though. Now that's got me thinking. Like if they took all the fees they made off sellers, which is like brand new revenue that they definitely didn't have in the past, and just shoved it into SEO. I mean, technically you don't have to like directly take Amazon share, but just those little impulse purchases of like best trash bags. If it pops up Walmart, I'm just going to go to Walmart first because I only go to Amazon because it pops up Amazon first. I
Yeah.
didn't even really think about that, but I wonder if there's like you can see those stats. You might be right. I bet they are spending a bunch of money on it because that's the only way to drive new volume. It's not like you're going to run commercials and get people on there.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I do think they're. I think that's the biggest advantage. I think I noticed that after COVID, like before COVID, Amazon, it was truly Prime. Like you would literally get it in 2 days. Now it's all over the place. It's like 3, 4 days. Like obviously, and it's being listed as Prime. This isn't like an independent seller, but when you shop at Target, it's always 2 days. Like
Yeah.
always. Walmart, like even with Walmart Plus, like yeah, I totally agree. Like I know you're not supposed to, but like I think it was like before it was kind of a thing. Like you weren't supposed to do arbitrage using Walmart Plus or whatever, but like it always defaulted to that anyway. You could literally buy Lego sets or Q4 toys and literally get it in like 2 hours. And
Yeah.
then listed on like it's absolutely insane. And I was always thinking to myself, I was like, I wonder if this is almost like how Amazon loses. Like Walmart has all these stores so they could get the goods. Like if they figure out Walmart Plus and everything else, like they have such an advantage to get people goods quicker because they have all these stores in major areas where people live.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
100% agree. Like, uh, Prime has really gone downhill in the last few years. It's no longer 2 day shipping, and most e-commerce sites are really good about shipping fast now. Like even we did OA on like Ulta.com, and like they always shipped fast. Macy's always shipped fast. So yeah, I think the gap is a lot smaller now between Amazon and everybody else.
Yeah, I think they're trying to invest in their video probably. I could see that being a thing because I have Prime. I watch Prime Video now, and I didn't even know it was really a thing. But they've been like making these movies or like funding movies that are really big deals, and I think getting people on there and like getting watching stuff, and that's probably higher margin. So maybe they're just like we can let the Prime shipping stuff kind of die down a bit, and then invest elsewhere in more digital products. If I had to guess, that's probably better for the business, anyways.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I
Yeah,
do have like my theory has been a lot of people have been like, why is Amazon doing this to sellers? Why is reselling going the way it has? And I honestly think, I mean, obviously we can't prove this, but I think Amazon just made so much money off of us and like built up all this infrastructure. And it's like, we don't need you guys anymore. Like, you guys are a headache. You're causing problems. Like, we're just going to buy the paper towels from Bounty. We're just going to buy, from Michael Kors. Like, we don't need you guys anymore. Like, thanks for like all these billions of dollars, but like we're good now, and like we're gonna focus on other things. And if you're a big player, not causing a bunch of headaches, like you could kind of stay. But I do think we're gonna see more of that. I do agree with Drew. Like the video, like I forgot what it was, but they paid like an extreme amount of money just to do one football game. I think it was like $100 million or something like that. But and I was like, wow, and I was like, oh, they're probably bidding for the rights or whatever. And I was listening to some podcast, and I didn't watch the football game, but supposedly during the commercials, they just put a QR code on the screen. Like, hey, if you want these headphones, scan this QR code, and it'll like check you out on your app. And supposedly they made more than they paid for the game in that 4 hour period just by having QR codes on the screen, loading it into your Amazon app. And I was like, wow, that is absolutely insane. Because then you really own the customer if you're putting the QR code on the TV.
Yeah. Yeah,
dude, we're
that is
definitely
crazy that
in.
they can make that much.
Yeah. That's like some end time shit. People just like watching football and just like impulse buying stuff that Amazon's like shoving into their face, especially when the ads become personalized. It's like, oh, they heard us talking about that during the football games. Like, do you want that right now? That stuff is like terrifying. But you're
Yeah.
probably right, man. That probably is where they're going with that. I never even knew that, John, but that's
Yeah.
definitely where they're going.
Well, Gary
Yeah.
Vee was talking the other day. He thinks like the future is basically Amazon or whatever device is. It's gonna be like he came up with some like really extreme example. Where it'd be like, I'm having Drew and Dave over for dinner. Dave doesn't like pizza. Drew loves pizza. Dave kind of like Chinese food. I need it all to come by 7. And like Alexa just like farms this thing out. And like Drew gets what he wants, Dave gets what he wants, I get what I want, but I don't have to go to 3 different restaurants or DoorDash 3 different things. Alexa just kind of like takes care of it. And I was like, that sounds so far out, but then it's like, well, is it? Like DoorDash for me anyway, since I'm older, like if you told me that when I was younger, like you're not gonna call a pizza place, you're gonna like pick up your phone and like be able to choose from 8 or 9 pizza places, I'd be like, you're crazy. But that's where we live in now.
Yeah. Yeah, and you mentioned like them wanting to buy directly from Bounty or whatever. Like we noticed that a lot with like just brands getting gated. Like a lot of them, we did a lot of beauty, and a lot of the beauty brands over the years, they all just like sell directly on Amazon now. And I remember just thinking like back in the day when we were really doing a lot of volume, like there's no way this is going to last. Like this money is like just too easy, and like these brands are gonna like figure out, why don't I just sell this on Amazon directly at our MSRP, so the customers are getting a better deal, and like the opportunity wouldn't be there for us anymore. So definitely see that a lot with like 5, 10 years ago, brands were like, yeah, we don't want to sell on Amazon, but now they're like, a lot of them are doing it directly on there.
Yeah, and I remember people saying too, even just like 3 or 4 years ago, well, brands don't do that because it's just not worth it for them. If it's like not worth the time, and it's like, yeah, they probably realized it was worth the time when they figured out hundreds of millions of dollars of their shit was being sold on Amazon. So,
Yeah, exactly.
and it doesn't take a ton of people. You probably just hire a few people and they can run your whole Amazon store. I mean, sometimes that's what sellers do, the brand direct stuff. So, I mean, the cost of it's nothing, and then your benefit's huge.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, like we really don't provide that much value. Like selling on Amazon really isn't that hard. The hard part is like marketing your brand. The easy thing is to just put up a listing and then sell stuff. And you can even ship your stuff into Amazon and they do logistics for you. So, pretty easy model. The hardest part is like getting the word out about your products.
Yep.
I think
100%.
that is like almost the future of Amazon. Is kind of what they did with Adidas, where it's just like, hey guys, guess what? Like we're cutting off all resellers, and they're like, well, that's going to hurt us. They're like, in exchange, like we'll offer 2 day shipping for you. So like when you sell on your site, we'll take care of that for you. And it just makes it better for everyone. And I think you're going to see that more and more. I do think Nike will do a deal with Amazon like soon. Like there's a reason why they're kicking all these people off like constantly. And I do think that is going to be like kind of the future where it's like, hey, Nike, like you're kind of down in the dumps right now. Like, look at all these sales that people do and they're tanking your price. Let us control that for you. And I think we'll see more and more of that.
Yeah. Yeah, that does make sense. And a lot of people like build their whole business off of Nike. I don't know, for whatever reason, that's just like seems to be the number one go-to reseller brand.
Yeah, I think it's because there's so many sites. Like that's how I started a lot of Nike after the COVID stuff, obviously. And it's like there's so many sites. The sales are so extreme sometimes. I think it's a really, really easy way to get started. And
Yeah.
I think somebody had just been on the pod and told us that I don't know some big stat about Nike that that was most of the stuff sold on there was from a third party seller, whatever it was. And I'm like, it makes sense. I mean, and they have a ton of listings, ton of volume, especially the socks, the backpacks, the various shoes. It adds
Yeah.
up.
There's something about the shoes too, like for content, having the stack of shoes in the background, like it looks cool. I think that's part of the appeal of selling shoes in Nike.
Yeah. And I mean, it's, you probably wear Nike shoes, you know, like everybody kind of
Yeah.
grew up wearing Nikes we do now. So it's like something sentimental about it as well.
Yeah.
It's definitely good for content because I remember like seeing people like all these sellers, you see their driveway, it's just like full of like boxes. There's like 40, 50 Home Depot boxes, like these huge or Lowe's or whatever. And I never really sold shoes and I never got it. And then I was talking to someone, there's like, you realize there's only like 8 pairs of shoes in each one of those boxes. I
Yeah.
was like,
Not
oh,
even
shit.
eight.
I don't know what I was thinking. Like how many, like I almost like, cause most of the stuff that I put in a box is probably like 40, 50. So I just like assumed that right away. But they're like, you realize there's only like 7 or 8 pairs of shoes in there. And I was
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right, that makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah, with doing beauty products, you could fit like 200 units into a small Home Depot box, and like you said, the big. I think we use the medium size Home Depot box for shoes, and if they're bigger sizes, you can sometimes only get like 5 pairs in there.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yep. Oh, we're about to be in an hour. Do you have any questions for us? Anything that you want to talk about here?
What have you been up to, Drew?
I've been trading crypto.
Oh,
That's
really?
since Trump got elected. I was doing like some marketing stuff, trying to learn that, and then as soon as he got elected, I knew the markets would kind of rip, so I was like, I'll just do this for the meantime. I kind of enjoy it. It's just like there's something about flipping stuff. I think it's like in tune with me since I was a kid, and that's
Yeah.
it's not flipping physical stuff, but it's the same type of concept. So that's
Are
what.
you a Bitcoiner at all?
No, I don't even believe in it. Like
Oh, yeah.
I don't think crypto is the future. I think it's all just like gambling garbage. But I do know there's money to be made. Like maybe Bitcoin future if all countries agreed and all the people agreed. I could see where that could be a big deal, but there's a lot of problems with it too. Do you know much about like Bitcoin?
Yeah, a little bit. I think it's a good like store of value and stuff. And it seems like it's getting adopted by some of the bigger institutions. So, not financial advice, by the way, but I do like Bitcoin. I think it is going to succeed long term.
Yeah, if I think everything fails kind of but Bitcoin. But also
Yeah,
I could see it failing too. Because like one guy, Michael Saylor, he runs the company MicroStrategy. He's like the Bitcoin mascot, really. I
yeah,
saw the other day that he has like 2 or 3% of Bitcoin, and it's on mostly loans, like getting these billion-dollar loans from companies and then or banks, and then buying Bitcoin with it. So that feels like when that bubble pops, that's not good. And we could see it just crash. So he's kind of artificially inflated a lot of that, from my understanding. Like 3% of an asset is a lot. Like imagine all
yeah,
the cash in the United States, somebody owned 3% of it. That'd be like by far the richest person on earth, probably everybody combined.
yeah. If he ever sold, I think it would
Yeah.
definitely crash the price. But I'm pretty sure like even by owning more of the supply, you don't have like more control over the network because it's like the miners
Yeah.
have control over it. So that's like the good thing about it. But yeah, it's all new, so we don't really know anything about long term how it's going to do. But yeah,
Yeah.
have you looked into arbitrage sports betting?
No.
It's funny you say that. Someone I follow, I can't think of it off the top of my head, is making like $100 to $200 a day. Supposedly there's a software.
Yeah, I know about this one.
From
It's
what I
called Odds
understand,
Jam.
is what's it called?
Odds Jam.
Odds Jam. I got like really curious. I might look into it, but basically, I think, correct me if I'm wrong. The premise is you place all these different bets on different sites, and like some sites, they're almost opposite. So you almost don't lose, or you just make
Yeah, it's like if there's like an under over for a game, like one book would have it at 115 and then one book would have it at 110. So then you bet the under on one and the over on the other. So you're like guaranteed, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but you're guaranteed that one of them's going to win, and you can bet this amount that like you automatically profit like $3. And then if it comes in like in the middle, like between 110 and 115, you win both bets. So that's the premise of it. So like you're guaranteed to win, but it's like a few dollars here, a few dollars there. But I've also heard that like if you do too much of it, they eventually catch on and shut you down. So I don't know. I went down a rabbit hole on it once, but I haven't gotten into it.
Yeah, I've never looked into like the sports gambling because like I know I've watched these videos of people that do it big, and the whole sports betting thing, like no one's as profitable as they say. All the Discord groups, even though that's like one of the biggest like groups of people, like if you go on WAP and that stuff, it's tons of sports betting. but it's not even possible to be profitable on a long scale because they'll ban you after you get certain, like, so profitable, and they're allowed to do that. So you would just
Yeah.
have to get tons of burner phones, and the way it works, even with that type of stuff, you can't do the volume to even make any money. That's my
Yeah.
understanding of it. The real arbitrage of it, I think, is like finding a book where, maybe it's a game, the team's minus 10 points, minus 10-point favorite. And if you could find a book where they're minus 6, you would just shove into there. And you're still gambling, but your EV is just higher. And that's how you
Yeah.
could like make big plays. That's my understanding of sports betting. But I went down a rabbit hole of it a few years back. But I always hear people be like, yeah, man, I'm profitable. I'm up X amount of money. I'm like, no, you're not, dude. Because if you were up a bunch of money, they would just shut you down. Because I don't know what the number is, but I'm sure if they are like, oh, he's a winner, we got to get him out of here. We need more losers on here.
Yeah. Yeah, I know they're full of shit if they're like, yeah, I had a hunch, I looked at Pat Mahomes' stats and I knew something. It's like, you're not going to beat these like companies that are putting billions of dollars into research.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, the crypto, back to that, what I trade is like meme coins. I'm sure you've seen those. So
Yeah.
that's what I do like every single day of my life. But it's been fun. And I'm profitable now. I was down 18 grand to start the year from November to January. And then now I'm up probably about 18 grand. So we went full circle and I'm profitable like almost $20,000. That's very nice. But the swings are crazy, dude. The ups and downs. Like I lost 5 grand 2 days ago and I made 7 yesterday. So I was in the dumps and then on top of the world. It's fun.
Yeah, it sounds like a roller coaster of emotions.
It is.
I don't think I could do that.
Yeah, it's like Amazon though. Like you have bad stuff happen to you with Amazon. You've probably lost a lot of money at certain things, especially with the beauty stuff. I'm sure something gated and you lost like 5 grand or whatever, 10 grand. It's kind of like that. You just know, okay, like I'll find my way out of this. It's happened before. It's like a pattern.
Yeah.
We got any other cues for us?
I don't think so.
Let's close this up.
We'll do one last question. What's the best piece of business advice you ever got?
Man, I really don't know. I would just say, I don't know if anybody gave me this advice, but just doing the business model that you're motivated to work on each day is probably the best one. Because if you like what you're doing more, it's going to be easier to get up every day and like be consistent with what you're doing. So I think sometimes I've chased, like for a while I was really trying to do wholesale on Amazon, but I absolutely hate like picking up the phone and reaching out to suppliers. So I had a little success with it, but it ultimately wasn't going to work out for me. So figure out like what you like to do, and that's probably going to be the best chance of success.
Cool deal. Where can everyone find you?
Just at OA Deals on Instagram, and I'm on Twitter too. I haven't been very active on either of those, but you can send me a DM there and I'll respond to it.
Cool deal. Thanks so much for being here. Guys, like, subscribe, go follow Dave, and we will see you in the next episode.
Peace.
Thanks, guys.
If you enjoyed this episode and know someone else that would enjoy this episode, if you could send them this episode, literally just copy and paste a link, send them on Instagram DM. Everyone loves to network. This is a great way to do it, a very easy way. It helps grow the podcast and get better guests. So the more the podcast gets shared, the more views we get, the better guests we could get for you. We would really, really appreciate it, and tag us on social media and we will share it as well.